Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. This is part of a series in Studies of Early Christology by Andrew Turnlock, which I was not acquainted with before I got this book. Associate Professor of the Department of Religion and Philosophy at Hong Kong Baptist University. So I've had an wonderful, exciting time going through this book, looking at what he has to say about early Christology. So thanks for being here. Put out by Cascade Books. So Studies on the Origin of Divine and Resurrection Christology. And that's two different subjects, by the way. How is Jesus divine? Is it from Scripture? What through the Old Testament play? And then the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. One of the most interesting parts of this book I found was his introduction. His interaction is what the word I'm looking for, with Larry Hurtado. That Larry Hurtado would be more in Jewish monotheism. He would be kind of arguing the point that early Jewish understanding in the time of Jesus believed in a two-power doctrine, which I think you can pretty easily refute that. So I'm going to read some stuff that I found good. I've got actually great written here. In The Origin of Divine Christology, I've argued that contrary to Walter Bauer, Robinson, and Kostler, and Ehrman, the conviction that Jesus is truly divine was widespread and persistent among the earliest Christians. And I would wholeheartedly agree with him on that. Wilhite has argued the evidence indicates that this was the case all the way to the mid-2nd century as well, noting that none of the text from the Apostolic Fathers collections and those of the Ebionites or any adoptionist Christology. And so this would be like that, maybe in a date sense, that Jesus became divine at his baptism or something like that. And so the Ebionites, he would say they didn't even know who the Ebionites were. So that is a wonderful point of history. Furthermore, this group is never even named before Irenaeus in 190 AD. And so the attempts by some modern scholars to link the Ebionites with the original Jerusalem church are difficult to defend. He also goes into a neat thing about the Shepherd of Hermas, which is a fascinating body of literature as well. I'm thinking Gail Ripplinger went into a good thing on that as well. Concerning the dispute with Gnostic views of Christ's flesh and his believers' resurrected body, Ignatius repeatedly speaks of Jesus' blood, flesh, suffering, death, physicality after his resurrection. And so he does go into Ignatius as well, which is a neat thing. This is part, again, Studies in Early Christology by Cascade Books. And this is another phrase I found good. And then Hurtado's Origin of Divine Christology and all this. In other words, according to the portrayal of Jesus in the Synoptic Gospels, which I don't really agree with that term. While Jesus did not use the exact words, I am God, nevertheless, he calls his Jewish believers to worship him, and he accepted their worship. He indicated his disciples understood correctly that he was God. The only God, the Creator, is to be worshipped. Note Matthew 4:10, Acts 10:26, affirm that only God the Creator. So they're worshiping Jesus as not just God, but God the Creator. He calls his Jewish unbelievers to think he is blaspheming in the sense of making claims that only God the Creator can make. So that's fantastic. He's also refers to Locke, Origin of Divine Christology. Some more stuff. Secular historists, on the other hand, who obviously can't accept genuinely fulfilled prophecies, would struggle to explain how the historical Jesus arrival on the scene can possibly be insignificant, as they'd like to think. He goes on. And what I've really appreciated, he's talking about presuppositionalism among agnostics and atheists. And so he's like, there's a certain group of people that a priori say the supernatural doesn't exist. You can't examine the supernatural. Jesus wasn't divine. You'll never convince us. And so I was like, that's really good. Here's another part. I've got so much stuff marked up in here. He has a very good thing on the differentiation in his mind of being and person, which has always been a huge debate among people examining God. So he goes on, did they worship Jesus? Yes, I agree with Hurtado on this. This is Hurtado. What drove them to worship Jesus? Religious experience, according to Hurtado. Experiences involving Jesus on claims, according to me. My conclusion is justified by the 14 historical considerations listed. Did they think Jesus was pre-existent? Yes, I agree with Hurtado on this, for they stated they would worship only the Creator, Romans 1:25. I'm going to skip down a little bit. Thus, the earliest believers evidently thought there exists one God in which there are at least two subjects who could communicate with each other. Now, this is where he's kind of in a debate with Hurtado over the two powers doctrine. So a lot of things in here that are valuable. I don't agree totally with all of his conclusions, but that's to be expected on many books in academia. You eat the food, spit out the sticks. Fear the Lord's beginning of wisdom and knowledge. So we want to say God bless you. Thanks for being here. Join us daily. Share with your friends, family, church family. Put it on social media. And subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. We'll see you. Bye.